Welcome to 25 Illusions of the Human Mind. Part 1. Hey guys, tonight, we're not traveling through history. No plagues, no pirates, no medieval diseases with suspicious soups. Tonight, we're going somewhere far more dangerous. Inside your own mind. Don't roll your eyes. You think you know this place. You live here. But that's what everyone says before they walk into the haunted basement and hear the piano start playing by itself. The brain is a magician, a prankster, and sometimes a bureaucrat with poor filing skills. It tells you you're in control while secretly flipping all the switches behind your back. So before we open the trap door, take a second to like the video and subscribe. But only if you genuinely enjoy watching your ego dissolve in slow motion. Leave a comment telling me where you're listening from and what time it is. It's always 2 a.m. somewhere, and right now, it's probably that hour when you start thinking your pillow has opinions. Dim the lights. Turn on that fan for white noise. Pull the blanket up to your chin, like it's emotional armor, and start asking yourself the questions your brain doesn't want you to ask. Have you ever sworn you were calm, right before yelling, "I'm calm"? Have you ever bought something you didn't need because the advertisement said it would simplify your life, and now you own 6 identical minimalist lamps? Have you ever looked at an old photo and thought, wow, that person had no idea what was coming, and realized that that person is technically still you? Welcome. You've just stepped into the carnival of illusions that keeps the human mind functioning. You'll see mirrors that lie, corridors that loop, and signs that point confidently in all the wrong directions. Take a deep breath. You're about to meet the greatest illusionist of all, yourself. 1. The illusion of control. You wake each morning believing you're the pilot. You stretch, scroll, decide on eggs instead of cereal, and think, I'm running this show. But most of your choices were made by tiny electrical storms between neurons that never consulted you. Your conscious mind is the PR department. The subconscious runs the factory. You think you planned your career path. Maybe. But a random conversation at age 12 rewired your expectations. You think you chose your partner. Possibly. But scent chemistry and childhood attachment styles filled out most of the dating application. Control feels good, though. It gives chaos a seatbelt. Without it, you'd freeze in the cereal aisle, whispering, "Who's deciding this?" So the brain builds a stage play called agency, starring you as the confident protagonist who makes things happen. Then life laughs. A text arrives. The car won't start. Someone sneezes in a bat cave on the other side of the planet, and your travel plans disappear for 2 years. Suddenly you realize you're less captain and more passenger with a Wi-Fi connection. Yet the illusion saves you. It lets you keep steering even when the wheel isn't connected. Because admitting that control is partial, that randomness shares custody of your fate, would short-circuit hope. And hope, however delusional, is what gets you out of bed. 2. The illusion of free will. You believe you're choosing. You stand at the coffee machine, feel powerful, and pick cappuccino over espresso. Victory, except brain scans show the motor cortex made that call seconds before you felt the decision. Consciousness is the narrator, not the driver. You were born with fingerprints, but also with fingerprints of thought, genetic impulses, cultural coding, and that one smell of childhood soap that can still dictate your mood. Each choice emerges from billions of prior causes, a domino line stretching back to ancestors who decided berries were food. But awareness of the illusion doesn't make you helpless. It makes you humble. Maybe freedom isn't the absence of influence, but the ability to notice influence before it drags you by the collar. Maybe free will lies in the pause, that small gap between stimulus and reaction when you can say, "Not this time." So yes, your life may be a script written by biology, trauma, and caffeine, but you're still the actor who can improvise the tone. And sometimes that's enough to change the story's ending. 3. The illusion of the self. You call it me, as if there's a single stable being in there. But the self is less a statue and more a sandcastle rebuilt by every wave of experience. Morning, you swears today will be productive. Afternoon, you negotiates with snacks. Midnight, you writes poetic texts and blames vibes. Which one is you? All of them, and none. You're an anthology written by different authors sharing one ISBN. Your brain stitches this chaos together through narrative glue. It edits contradictions, deletes bloopers, and presents a highlight reel called personality. You believe it because the alternative, that identity, is a shape-shifting mirage, would make pronouns very confusing. Still, the illusion has benefits. Without it, you couldn't plan, love, or pay taxes. The stable I is psychological duct tape. It keeps the fragments from falling apart. But occasionally, late at night, the seams show. You catch your reflection and think, who's steering this skin suit? That moment of vertigo? That's reality peeking through. The self isn't a thing to discover. It's a story you keep editing, and every edit keeps you alive. 4. The illusion of rationality. You tell yourself you're logical. You budget, you compare reviews, you make informed decisions. Then you buy a novelty candle that smells like forest optimism. Reason is a costume emotion wears to the meeting. Your frontal lobe collects data, sure, but only the data your feelings allow through security. If logic truly ruled, no one would eat leftover pizza standing over the sink whispering, "This doesn't count." You rationalize constantly. The expensive gym membership you never use, "I'm investing in my health." The argument you started, "I was clarifying." Boundaries. The late-night text, "Just closure." Each explanation is a tiny courtroom drama where emotion wins every case and reason writes the verdict afterward. Yet we cling to the idea of rational minds because it flatters us. It suggests control. It implies we're more than slightly evolved, storytelling apes doing improv on a spinning rock. The truth is messier. You're a biological opinion factory that occasionally quotes science. Still, illusion keeps civilization running. Nobody wants their surgeon mid-operation whispering, "I'm 90% instinct and childhood fear." 5. The illusion of memory. Memory pretends to be a camera. It's really a sketch artist with bad lighting. Each recollection you pull up gets redrawn by current emotions. You don't store events. You store feelings about events, and feelings age like milk. That argument you remember perfectly? Half the dialogue is rewritten. That happy childhood vacation? Probably 2 good afternoons stretched into a myth. Every time you remember, neurons fire new patterns. Memory isn't retrieved, it's remixed. We need that flexibility. Accuracy isn't the brain's goal. Coherence is. Perfect recall would be torture. You'd relive every mistake in 4K. So the mind blurs edges, softens humiliation, airbrushes heartbreak. It's self-defense, disguised as nostalgia. Sometimes it backfires. 2 siblings can recount the same family dinner and sound like rival historians. Both are right because memory serves identity, not truth. Your mind doesn't care what happened. It cares about who you believe you were when it happened. So next time you insist you never said that, remember, somewhere in another version of your brain, you absolutely did. But he's been edited out for tone. 6. The illusion of time. You think time flows, steady and fair. But time is emotional gravity. When you're bored, it expands like wet paper. When you're joyful, it folds like origami. Children live in eternal present tense. Adults drown in compressed decades. The first day at a new job lasts a year. The next 5 years vanish between Monday meetings. The clock measures physics. The brain measures novelty. Modern life worsens the distortion. Endless scrolling teaches your attention span to sprint. Stillness feels suspicious. Yet the moments you remember most, a sunset, a conversation, a quiet drive, happen when you accidentally stop counting minutes. Physicists whisper that past and future may coexist, that time is a stubborn illusion our consciousness moves through like a flashlight across film. If that's true, then the future you're anxious about already exists, peacefully unaware of your worry. Comforting, isn't it? Terrifying, too. Time isn't marching forward. It's looping softly while you narrate progress. Every tick is just the universe clearing its throat. 7. The illusion of progress. You adore improvement. The self-help aisle promises metamorphosis by Tuesday. Apps track your meditation, water intake, and emotional stability, all currently at 17%. But much of what you call growth is rotation. The scenery changes, but the path circles the same insecurities wearing new shoes. Humanity does it too, inventing technology to escape boredom, then using that technology to amplify boredom in high definition. Progress comforts because it implies direction. I'm getting better, we say, when we really mean I'm surviving with slightly nicer fonts. Yet genuine change is glacial, microscopic rewiring invisible to motivational posters. Sometimes progress is simply realizing you've been here before, but this time, you notice. That awareness is evolution in disguise. You're still orbiting, but maybe a little higher, like a satellite that finally gets Wi-Fi. So yes, celebrate your growth. Just don't confuse software updates with transformation. The mind loves to rename old habits, versions. 8. The illusion of certainty. Certainty is comfort food for the psyche. It tastes like safety, smells like authority, and has the nutritional value of chalk. Your brain despises ambiguity. It would rather invent a story than admit it doesn't know. That's why conspiracy theories exist. They're security blankets for existential toddlers. Uncertainty means vulnerability, and vulnerability feels like standing naked in a storm holding a Wi-Fi router. So we cling to opinions, to labels, to gurus promising clarity. We defend them like property, because if the map is wrong, we might be lost. Yet certainty ages fast. Yesterday's absolute truth becomes tomorrow's embarrassing tweet. Real intelligence lives in maybe, but maybe doesn't trend well. Maybe doesn't sell books. Still, it's the doorway to wonder. The moment you say, I don't know, curiosity sneaks back in, holding a flashlight. The illusion of certainty isn't evil. It's training wheels for a species terrified of chaos. But at some point, you have to wobble without them and accept that life is open book, infinite revision homework. 9. The illusions of happiness. Happiness, humanity's favorite mirage. You chase it through careers, relationships, smoothies, enlightenment retreats with suspiciously high prices. You tell yourself joy awaits just beyond the next goalpost. Then you arrive, and someone's already moved it. Biology designed it that way. Satisfaction spikes, then drops. A chemical notification that fades before you can screenshot it. If lasting happiness existed, evolution would have retired us ages ago. So the brain keeps you slightly dissatisfied, eternally downloading emotional updates. Real happiness isn't a constant state. It's a flicker, that half second after laughter, before thought returns. The warm quiet of understanding someone without words. The absurd relief of finding your phone after panic. It visits, not stays. But the illusion of lasting happiness keeps civilization running. Without it, no one would build cathedrals, compose symphonies, or invent wireless earbuds. We chase contentment to create meaning. And maybe that's beautiful. That our restlessness builds art. Still, there's power in seeing the trick. When you stop demanding happiness, perform on cue, you start noticing it sneaking in unannounced, soft, ordinary, sincere. And now, exhale. You've wandered through the funhouse of your own mind and somehow made it back with most of your dignity intact. You've seen the mirrors, control that wasn't real, choices that were rehearsed, memories that quietly plagiarized themselves. You've peeked behind the curtains and caught your brain red-handed, inventing stories just to keep the lights on. The truth is both comforting and uncomfortable. Everything you think you know about yourself is a performance staged for stability. You're a narrator trying to keep chaos on a leash. But maybe that's what being human actually means. Walking the edge between delusion and awareness, pretending just enough to keep moving forward. The people before you lived the same hallucination. Ancient philosophers, medieval mystics, your parents, your neighbor with the loud leaf blower, all of them acted out this strange play of selfhood. They fought the same invisible tides of time and thought, believing, as you do now, that they were steering. And somehow, despite the lies the mind tells, they survived. They built civilizations. They made art. They kept getting up in the morning, shaking hands with uncertainty and calling it hope. So tonight, as you lie in your bed, surrounded by the quiet hum of the world, still pretending to know what it's doing, let the illusions be gentle. Let them soften instead of break. You don't need to destroy them to see clearly. You just need to notice the shimmer, where the trick begins. Maybe happiness isn't control, or clarity, or certainty. Maybe it's the small relief of realizing you never had them, and that's okay. You are, after all, A temporary dream, pretending to be permanent. And for a flicker in time, that's more than enough. Good night.